like bone. Radio dead, just your breath and a whisper in the headphones. Trailhead sign half gone, nails rusted through the wood. Locust hushes you step like the forest understood. In the hollows, in the pines, something watching from the line, past the fire's failing light, where the ridge cuts out the sky. You keep calling out its name, but it never does reply. In the hollows, in the pines, you are not alone tonight. Old church with stained glass.
Okay, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Journals, only here on Black Mass Paranormal. I wanted to take the time to make another video for you all before I head out on this big excursion that I'm going on. I'm going to be investigating from basically Thursday through Sunday morning. The location that I'm going, I don't want to put out in this video just yet because there's several locations that I'm going to be hitting. I've worked really hard in order to get all of the right equipment that I'm going to need and have the right tools to do the investigation, to be able to moto camp safely, and to convey to you all, the audience, what this area is really like. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you will know that I have kind of one major fear when doing paranormal investigations, and that comes down to Native Americans. So the Native American side of the paranormal is something that is totally unique, completely different than the average perception that you get from the regular paranormal videos that you see online. Anyway, we are about to head out on this massive investigation, and I know I've kind of stumbled sometimes on getting the videos out. I really have an image in my mind in the way that I want things to go, and I do force myself to release a lot of stuff that I didn't really want to release, but I needed to get the channel going. But with this, I have planned everything down to the T, and I have all of the equipment that I want to be able to share the imagery that I want to with you all. I have set up, I've got several sponsors. One of them we'll talk about right now. It's Let's WeSaf. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll put the spelling down. But this is a radar system, and this is going to allow me to secure my campsite, and I'm going to be using this on paranormal investigations because it's going to pick up any type of movement that comes within the setup range that I'm really excited about. So we are going to be having a lot of really cool stuff coming up, and I'm really excited to share this with you all. This is how I've wanted everything to go. I obviously have been still working on my feral people research and getting that stuff out. But one of the things that I wanted to cover in today's video, because in order for you all to really understand the paranormal and understand Appalachia, it's very important for you to understand the Native American beliefs. In the Cherokee, they believed in something called the Nunnehi, or the Nunnehi. Were beings that were outside of the idea of a cryptid, outside the idea of a ghost. There's something totally different because they meet in between. And if you have studied the paranormal and you have studied this type of folklore and culture, you will know that there are very defined understandings of whether it is a ghost, whether it is a cryptid, which is more solid form, or there's something kind of like in between, which is like a skinwalker. So the Nunnehi is something kind of totally different. They are an immortal being that is said to live within the mountains themselves. Now the Cherokee portrayed these beings as not necessarily as something scary, not something that is aggressive. They actually protected the Cherokee themselves. So what would happen a lot of the times, and still to this day, these encounters are being reported. Individuals are having encounters with what they believe is to be a local Native American person. But that's not what it is. This is something that is totally different. And they appear when there are signs of danger or threat, and they will guide that person out of danger. Now, there's another side to it that the Cherokee would say that they would appear during battles, and people would hear the drums, the flutes that the Native Americans would use, and that these beings would help them fight off the pioneers that were coming to take over their area. And what happens a lot of the times, people will say that they have had an interaction with one of these beings, and they will have lost track of time. So something that they would typically experience would say like having a meal, that time frame that they would like sit down or be with this person that they envisioned would be, 20-30 minutes, would be hours or days. And they are often reported in starting in one location and ending up in a totally different spot and not knowing how they got there. And I find this fascinating because when you start thinking about the Native American folklore, and then you talk about the encounters that people have in the Appalachian Mountains, like in this name doesn't get brought up a whole lot. A lot of people don't talk about it. They talk about the Wendigo, they talk about skinwalkers, they talk about Bigfoot, Dogman, all of these other entities, but they don't talk about this because the Nunnehi, in my opinion, are responsible for a lot of the paranormal activity that happens within the Appalachias. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be hitting the hot spots along the East Tennessee, North Carolina border, where there are actual police documentation of people having these encounters, not necessarily with only the Nunnehi, but with other beings. And I wanted to structure it like this because that's another thing that I'm seeing happening within the paranormal community. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of update. We are going to be hitting a couple of topics over the next week. I'm going to have a lot of content to get out, and I'm going to try to get it out as quickly as possible. We are going to be mainly focusing on the feral people. I wanted to at least introduce the Nunnehi on this channel, so when we are on the investigation, you're going to know what I'm talking about, and you know what I'm going to be referencing. It's so fascinating. And a lot of people on the paranormal side don't cover this aspect of it because it's not necessarily scary. But this being is a fantastic explanation to a lot of the stuff that is happening in the Appalachian Mountains that people are misrepresenting or not understanding. I am going to be collaborating with another creator on here during this investigation. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be so awesome. The ride out to where I'm going is about, I think, 3 hours. So it's not too bad. We are going to be on the KLR, so we're going to be able to access a lot of those side roads, a lot of those areas that it's easy to kind of overlook because, one, the terrain is rough, and two, you don't really know where you're at. So you don't want to put yourself in a position that, things could go sideways. So we're going to keep pushing forward on this channel. If you haven't seen my other channel, it's more motorcycle focused, where I just generally talk about the KLR and the CT and other riding aspects of it. So I just wanted to give everybody an update, introduce this, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Definitely give this video a like and let me know what you thought in the comments about the Nunnehi, and is this going to be an answer to a lot of these paranormal stories? And I'm going to be actually speaking with a Cherokee expert, and we're going to be able to get a little bit more information, a little bit more details from the aspect of this being. So until next time, love you all. That just want to be on film, and they will create these stories just so they can get on these podcasts and meet these different creators. And unfortunately, that really cheapens the overall credibility of the paranormal, of these cryptids, because we went from having tens of encounters of a Sasquatch or a Mothman or a Dogman to literally thousands of people now stepping forward and saying that they are having encounters with these beings. Now, one of two things is true. Either they actually are having these encounters, and the American people are under a serious fucking threat. A serious threat. If these encounters are happening like this, holy shit, we're that's insane. That is a entire invasion, right, of these now extremely deadly beings that are encountering some of these people. Or these people are intentionally lying, and the podcasters are taking advantage of the paranormal community, and they are platforming these people for money and views. Which one do you think most likely is happening? So, and that's kind of another reason why I have stepped aside from doing a lot of the podcasts. When I initially started doing that, I really enjoyed telling my stories and talking about the paranormal. But I've come to find out that these people, a lot of these creators, they don't care about the paranormal. All they care about is their next podcast, their next paycheck. And I have always funded this channel by myself. That's why sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get videos out. In a sense, I was almost getting bored with a lot of the stuff that I was seeing other creators doing, because it's essentially the same. It's just kind of like the same thing. And unfortunately, they aren't proving anything, and they are not contributing anything to the acceptance of the paranormal. Now, I'm not hating on them. I understand you got to make money, you got to do your thing, but it's kind of weird when you put in all of this work and you find that one piece of amazing evidence that is true evidence that cannot be explained, and then people are just kind of bored with it because they have been overly exposed to this other stuff. So as you all know, if you're new to the channel, my name is Brian. I am a East Tennessee native. I was born and raised in Appalachia. I currently live and have basically always lived, except for when I was in the military, just like on the outskirts of Knoxville. Knoxville isn't really a big city. I live, I think it's like 45 minutes away from the downtown Knoxville, but Knoxville itself, its spread is pretty big. So I have grown up in Appalachia my whole life, and I consider myself to be a true Appalachian. I don't use the Appalachian culture as a means of getting notoriety. I just try to share my personal experiences from growing up in Appalachia and the stories that I heard and the investigations that I go on to you all, so you all have a better understanding of what it's like living and growing up in Appalachia. Now, I know there's a ton of creators that make Appalachia their entire personality. That's just not me. But they also don't tell you what their name is, where they're from, and you know, I hate to see what's happening to Appalachia right now, because it's being exploited, and the poverty that is happening in Appalachia is being taken advantage of. And I'm seeing a lot of my friends and I'm seeing family members being affected by mainly the rezoning of land. So that's another reason why I've been a little bit quiet, because I have been on the backside working on some political stuff. Nothing major, nothing like Republican and Democrat. Like, this is, I'm trying to save the culture of Appalachia and not allow all of our mountains, our wetlands, and our farms be overtaken by these giant development companies that are literally getting on the boards of these committees, voting to have land rezoned, and then going up to somebody who has had land for generations lose their land due to rezoning. And it's really, it's so sad to see. And so I just kind of wanted to let you all know that that's what I've been working on. The election for my town is coming up. It's looking really good. So hopefully we are going to be able to slow this down. And I'm doing this as a means not to be like, we don't want you all to move here, or we don't want you all to come here, but like, this is for the protection of both the native East Tennesseans that have been born and raised here, and the transplants that are coming here, because they are not understanding what's happening. They just see a new apartment complex or another backroom homes development. I call it the backroom homes because they're all just copy and paste, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. They view that as, oh, this person just sold their land, and you know, here's a new home for us. And that's not how it goes down, like, at all. There's usually a big fight. Then the owner of the land is being like forced to take this offer. Like, yes, it's being sold, but when you think about the equipment and the time and all of this other stuff, like even the sale of that land might get you out of your farming equipment, you know, the remainder of whatever you owe on that, but that's it. You know, you're not getting anything, and things are just being taken. And what's unique about Appalachia is that it will reclaim its land. It does. You're probably starting to see videos of people getting stuck on the mountains because of washout. Like, all of East Tennessee is limestone. So when it rains, everything gets washed away. And there is a new apartment complex actually near where I live. It used to be like a farm. It used to be a little farm area. The people had like goats, and they had some horses and stuff. That land got rezoned. They built these new apartment complexes. Entrance of the apartment complexes is about 3 lanes wide. So you have like the main parking if you're going to go into the main building, and then you have your out and in. The road on the entrance, and I'm going to put a video up of it here, is totally collapsing. So those that are either in the apartments are like gonna get stuck. Those that are out can't get in. And this is going to be a recurring problem within Knoxville and East Tennessee because it's all limestone. There's a reason why it wasn't developed until now. And there was like, because the East Tennessee has more caves than anywhere else in the world. So if you are thinking about moving to East Tennessee, my best advice to you now would be try to get a home built prior to really 2010. You could go all the way up to really, I would say 2015, maybe. Anything newer than that, they have like bypassed all of this. And I'm not just saying this. This is something that happened to my family as well. My grandmother, who worked at Oak Ridge, like was one of the original like Oak Ridge people. She sold her house because she wanted something a little bit smaller, and she bought one of these new condos. The condo itself, the ground, I was going to say floor, but it's the ground level started to collapse. This caused the foundation, and it was just a 1-story condo. Basically, like think about like a garage floor. Inside split, it broke in half. The condo itself started to like fall in. Like none of the doors could be closed, none of the windows could be closed all the way. And this was prior to all of this crazy development, because this is something that happens. Now people say, oh, well, I'll just sue. Insurance does not cover it, and you can't sue for it. At least that's what has happened to my grandmother. Just because of the way that these laws are set up and the way that these developers are able to get around this stuff. So be very careful. Like I'm serious, because you're talking about spending. I mean, if you were going to move to East Tennessee, you're going to be spending about $500,000. If it's new, you're going to be all excited and you're going to think it's great. But the local Tennessee contractors didn't build this. They're bringing in people from out of state to just get these things up and out. And it's really horrific, because there's people that are fleeing areas that are really bad, and they are thinking that they are going to be able to move to East Tennessee and be like left alone. But unfortunately, they're about to lose everything, because you're not going to be able to sell your house. You're not going to be able to fix the problem, because Tennessee has more caves than anywhere else in the world. And yeah, it's just bad, y'all. It's bad, and it's been wearing on me, and I've decided that I'm going to start getting involved, and I have, and I've really pushed and advocated for change, and I've been able to. It looks like we are going to get the main people that are doing this in my town out of business, you know, and be able to just really kind of slow everything down. That's all we need to do, because I'm not against growth, but what's happening now is exploitation and gentrification, and it sucks, and it's sad. It's bad for wildlife. Like we used to have a problem with deer, like a real problem. Like people would hit deer all the time. I haven't seen a deer in my town, and I don't even know how long. And that's just like breaks my heart, because my kids now can't live here. They can't afford to live here because we aren't loaded. We never were. Our family struggled. We're just a regular Appalachian family, you know? So. In the dark of the Appalachian Mountains, where the daylight never quite feels clean, there's a weight in the roots, in the water from the fountain, pulls you under like a half-remembered dream.